take your passion and realise, actually, you know what, I can help other people with this. How far do you go to make sure that you're actually helping the other person? Well, Jo Hood has taken that to an nth degree. We're going to hear her story of risking a whole lot so that kids can have music and understand about a God who loves them. It is a fascinating story going back decades. Jo Hood is the founder of Mainly Music, and we're going to be hearing her story today on Towards Understanding. But before we get there, please like, rate, review, share this podcast, follow it. It's always free, but we just want to get it out to as many people as possible, and helps us do that. Let's chat with Jo. How are you, Jo?
Oh, great.
That's good. Now, I should also say kia ora as well.
You should. And then I would say ko Jo toku ingoa, which means my name is Jo.
I love that. It is so good. And, you know, this program does go around Australia and New Zealand. So, you know, you are very much perfect in that, having lived a lot of your time in Australia from New Zealand. And
yes.
your ministry that you head up is across both countries as well.
Yes, it is. And the UK. The Colonials.
So
They've got it too.
Exactly. They've got it as well. I love it. Now, I want to go through a little bit of the story here, but just before we do, let's give the sort of the 10-15 second summary of what Mainly Music is, and then we'll come and deep dive a bit more into it later.
So Mainly Music is a fun music activity program for anyone relationally connected with a preschooler, including babies, that they can enjoy 30 minutes of fun, interactive music, lots of attachment, lots of educational outcomes, lots of developmental, and then fill themselves up with yummy fruit and rice crackers and water and go off to play. And for the adults in the room, tea, coffee, often homemade yummies, and a chance to speak to people who are in a similar life stage. It might be a grandparent, it might be a parent, it might be a carer or a nanny. Anyone relationally connected to a preschooler.
Yeah, that's great. Now, for the majority of Mainly Music's sort of lifespan, it has been based out of churches, but there's other aspects where it's being based out of at the moment too.
Yes, so it is 90-something% out of a church, because that's a place where there's volunteers, there's a building, we think the same, we're a faith-based organisation, and there's accountability and all those sorts of good things. More recently, we have started resourcing Christian childcares with it. So the parents don't come in. This is for the educators and the children to do together. So there's a less focus on the attachment and more on the education and socialisation for children. And then we have another whole arm of Mainly Music called supported groups, and so we pay people. So generally Mainly Music is volunteer based. We pay people to go into places like a prison in Brisbane, a special needs school in Brisbane, a school in a predominantly Aboriginal community in Moree East in New South Wales, and in New Zealand we're also in a prison there and in a drug and alcohol rehabilitation centre, and the girls often go from the prison to the drug and alcohol, so they're getting that double connection. Yeah,
that's great. How many people, let's start with, how many groups are you actually running at the moment, and how many people roughly are coming along?
Yeah, so 700 worldwide.
Wow.
Multiply that by a factor of about 15 families, so multiply that again out by double
and you get that. Yep. And sometimes the family might be, a mum and a child. It could be mum, grandparents, 3 kids. The families can multiply out.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. And lots of families have been there 10 years because by the time they enter, and then by the time the last one goes to school, it can be a 10-year period.
Yeah. Now, I must also very publicly admit and champion the fact that our family has been heavily involved with Mainly Music. My kids and my wife went through themselves for sort of 7-8 years or so, and then my wife has led a group up until last year for about 8 or 9 years as well. So we are big supporters of what this is about. So let's go back to the start from there. It is music-based, it's connection-based. Was music always a part of your growing up?
Yes, it was. So I taught myself the recorder looking at another friend. So had my fingers around the wrong way, hands around the wrong way, when I was 5, and I learnt properly the recorder, and then I went on to the clarinet and the piano. Played the clarinet in the Auckland Youth Symphonic Band including in the Christchurch Town Hall.
Wow, that's very impressive. I like that. And what about the element of sort of that faith, that relationship with Jesus? How was that a part? Was that a part of your early upbringing?
Absolutely, yes. So I decided that faith was going to be part of my everyday when I was 13. And it has been part of my everyday. I mean, there's ebbs and flows when you say, well, actually, God, I just like to do this whole life thing myself. But I've now done theological study, and next year I'm back going into it after saying never say never again.
Wow, that's very impressive.
Yes,
I love that.
Yes.
So here we are. You've got this love of music that just sort of is continuing adding different aspects. There's that sort of concept of faith that is, embedded and then become yours at that age of 13. Where did the concept of mainly music even come from? I really want to hear about this story.
Good question, because you know that we're into our 35th. Well, we're actually into our 36 years, but we're celebrating 35 years.
So good. I should have started with that. I'm sorry. I didn't know that too.
No, that's all right. So I am the founder.
Yes.
And it all started when a girlfriend and I took our two girls to a music group in a local community centre in Auckland. And there was no morning tea, there was no playtime, there was no real celebration of birthdays. There was a lot of fun, because music was my go-to, my jam. I just loved it, and so did Rebecca. And towards the end of that year, the person said, look, this is all going to change. I'm leaving Auckland. My husband's got a job elsewhere. I've got a music teacher coming in. It's all going to become more formal. There's going to be more cost. And at the time, my minister was saying, look, if you have an idea for connection with the community, with our local neighbourhood, come and talk to me. And so the next year we started what was called the Jack and Jill Club, because we did lots of nursery rhymes.
Yes.
At the time soon after, we found out that back then Jack and Jill was a code name for weed, which is, doesn't sort of go with preschoolers.
No, exactly right.
Then we called it Music and Movement, very boring. But people called it M&Ms. And then when the lawyer said, you actually can't call it Music and Movement, the MM needed to stay, and so mainly music.
There you go.
Occurred.
And so you were thinking at the time, this is just for our sort of local area, just the church. There was never this big thought of it's going to be worldwide and 700 groups and all that sort of thing.
No, never.
And so how long were you running it just sort of there in that local community?
Oh,
in that
not
local
very
church?
long. So it was part of a Baptist church, and back 35 years ago, Baptists were a very outward, they still are, but they were the most outward-focused grouping of churches. And so I just promoted it within that.
And so others sort of, you say, hey, come along, have a look at what we do, and you can just go and do it back there yourself? Was that the idea?
Yes. And I went and spoke at different places.
And so how long along here did you start going, actually, maybe we need to sort of formalise this a bit more and make this a bit more of something that people can, rather than just sort of copy, actually be a part of?
Yes, or sometime in the first 10 years.
Wow.
So it took the first 10 years to get to 100 groups, 100 churches, making it happen. And we've had as many as 1,000.
Wow.
But, team members grow older, and all of a sudden they go, actually, my ability to jump up and down like a green frog is not working for me. And so they will close, or people's lives changed, as with your Mandy, and it's time to finish, and there aren't people coming up through the ranks. And then COVID, we were at about the 850 worldwide before COVID, maybe even 900, and COVID just really pushed things aside. So.
Can we go back a little bit? And I do want to finish, as we've got plenty more of our conversation to come. I want to hear lots of stories as well, but in terms of just this idea, and I suppose I'm especially thinking maybe somebody who's sitting and thinking, I'm doing something great in my church, and maybe others might do it, or in my community, others might do it. When did it suddenly go from, all right, well, you're sort of doing this, and you said something, there's 100 churches within 10 years, that actually this is not just what you're doing, but it's your vocation essentially as well. Like this is
yes.
your job. This is what you're now a part of.
Yeah.
Was there a moment that you had to say, this is what I'm now choosing to do, or did it just happen and you're like, oh, well, this is what I'm doing now?
Yeah. Actually, God was involved in that because
I'd love to hear that story.
Yeah, because my husband, my late husband, had a very serious accident when the children were 5.5 and 2 and a bit. He was working for a telecommunications company and came down with a telecommunications pole that smacked his leg, and our lives were changed. Well, particularly his was changed forever, and. So I was working, quite some time after that, I was working for an organisation who said, actually, we're not going to keep working on we're not going to keep putting together the magazine that you have put together. Well, I was the manager at the time of that magazine and doing some other work for them. And so my job was going to decrease, and I was the main breadwinner at the time. And that's an old-fashioned term, isn't it? Breadwinner. I brought home the bacon.
That's right.
I'm showing my age. And I had always anticipated that what I did alongside Mainly Music would happen in my spare time. God put me in a corner and said, no, actually, you need to go full-time with this. And at the time, there wasn't financially, it just didn't work that way, and so we had to work a way around a membership contribution for all so the Hood family were actually resourcing a lot of that in the early days. My children will get less legacy,
yes.
But that's all right, they have to share it with Mainly Music anyway. So back then they had to share it then too, and so that was nearly. I'm not very good on history. Okay, that was probably nearly 25 years ago.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So ever since that's been the case, I'd imagine that you have had, as most incredible organisations and community groups and ministries do, the ups and downs of that.
Yes.
Where there's times where you're like, you see, we're going to keep going to oh my goodness, look at this.
Yeah.
This is just on the nth degree. It's interesting you talked about your kids. I'd love to just talk about that too. How have they understood it as they've grown up as well? That, here, Mum, this is a passion. Anytime we've chatted, and we talked a number of years ago now, you're as passionate now. Anytime I've ever seen you talk about it, you're as passionate as maybe only ever increasing. That's just a part of your family, right?
Yes, it is.
In
it's the third child.
Right, yeah. How are they as committed? Are they as connected to it in that way? Or is it, well, hold on, Mum's got enough of that. I don't need to be. I'll wait.
That hasn't been something I've inflicted on them. So I am more passionate about not more, but I am as passionate about what they are doing.
Lovely.
My son is in cybersecurity. Yes. My daughter is the mother of 3 children and is involved in, she and her husband have an electrician business, or electrical business. Yes. And so I would never want them to feel like they need to be dragged in. They are passionate in terms of they're as passionate back to supporting me. Yeah, and my husband, when he was alive, he was very much, he used to call himself Mr. Mainly Music.
I like that. That is very good. Very good indeed. We're going to be back with Joe Hood, as we've heard, founded Mainly Music and is still running it with a team around the world of over 700 groups and a whole lot of people around that. We're going to hear some of the stories specifically of that and find out maybe how you can get involved. What is it that you can actually do? What is some of the things you can support and some of the impact that can happen through this incredible work of Mainly Music? That's on the way next here on Towards Understanding.
Share your brand, your event, your message across 90 Christian radio stations and major cities in Australia and New Zealand by sponsoring Towards Understanding, hosted by Clayton Bielan. More than 210,000 people tune into Towards Understanding each week, and with just one sponsorship, you'll reach this immense engaged audience. Find out more about this exciting and unique opportunity now on the sponsorship page at positivemedia.com.au.
If you've just tuned in, let me give a crack at the summary and then you can correct me, Joe.
See if you can do it.
It's a program that is about a half hour of music, often with rhymes and songs and those sorts of things. Majority are based out of churches, but other community areas as well. Sort of after morning tea after that for both the kids and for the adults. And then there's really a time where the conversations can happen. The kids can play, the adults can talk, and it's just this remarkable moment of hearing together and being together. And as you said, it's a faith-based organisation, but it has this deep desire to say it's not about having to be a part of faith to be a part of this. In fact, it's open to absolutely everybody to come in the door.
10 out of 10. Well
there you go. I nailed it. That's good. Let's talk a little bit about why it actually works. So, Professor Jo Hood here, she's putting on her science hat. I'm actually trying to dissect this, right? Because there's a lot of incredible things that are running, that are reaching into people's lives around this world. As we said, there's 700 across Australia, New Zealand, UK, and then there's
some
a few
other places
scattered around internationally as well. So there's obviously something that's happening, that communities are being impacted through this, and then 15 plus families on average through each one of those. So what is the actual scientific part of why this works, do you think?
I think it's because we were created for community. And even if you're an introvert, you can still find your people in the space. I remember a story of a stay-at-home dad saying, we found the circus we wanted to be in.
I like that.
And there is noise and activity and excitement. There is also learning. And so you, from a logical point of view, you can say, my children are learning here. They're gaining school readiness. Tick to me as a parent. How good is this? But there's also cake. And the cake is yummy. And don't serve it to my children, but serve it to me, please. Yes. Serve my children healthy fruit and rice crackers. Yes. There is also a sense of being seen. So these days, stay-at-home mums, or even mums and dads, actually I would say, stay-at-home mums and dads, and people who stay at home even part of the week, or mum and dad share that role, and on a Thursday dad has children and on a Friday mum has children, but the child goes to childcare Monday to Wednesday. They still have a need for belonging, a need for value, and so Mainly Music places value on the role of parents, and we see it as really important. And these days, post-COVID, a lot more groups are seeing a lot more grandparents, because grandparents are doing this and they need to be seen. They can't just go to bowls and have coffee and all those things. They're back in the parenting mode. And Mainly Music celebrates that for them and welcomes them and values them and provides them something to do that tires the child out, and they can go to bed after lunch.
That's right. I love that. And I think, I shared as well that, we've been involved, our family's been involved. My wife's run it for many, many years as well. And they're the stories that are reflected in our local situation too, right? Where it's grandparents who are like, oh my goodness, this is something that I love being a part of it and being able to take it to parents saying this is the highlight of my week.
Yes.
Because for a little bit, I actually get cared for.
Yes.
I get seen. I have the opportunity. Yep. To others who are like, this is the only way I can get my kid out of the house.
Yes.
If it's Mainly Music Day, they're up and going.
They are. Music.
That's right. That's right. And, the classic stories are the ones when the kids are up and going and they realise it's the wrong day. And so now, but they're already up and going, and so the way they go. But, and, even, as you said, it's mostly mums that come, but there's a lot more dads, there's a lot more grandpas who are there. And we've had stories as well, I know, of stories of men who are, saying that this is, 10 years on, their kids are 15 now.
Yes.
And they're still talking to me about the impact of Mainly Music for them, that there was a place that they could go, that they could actually connect and be seen. And they're quite introverted as well. Don't really like that, but this was their place. And I think there's something special about that, isn't it? There's a safe place that I can then unpack a bit of who I am.
Yes. And I would say, well, certainly from an organisational point of view, unpack who you are and you will not be judged.
Yes.
Like anybody, come in the door, anybody. If you're wearing a headscarf, if there's two mummies, if there's two daddies, please come along to Mainly Music. You will be welcomed.
Yes.
I also think that there's an aspect of structure that people love as well. So We hear from women who are on maternity leave. They love it because there's that structure. They've come out of the workplace where they, have morning tea at 10:30 and they do this and they do that. When you've got a child, there's very little structure in your day. And then dads go, I really love this because I walk in the door and I know what's going to happen. I don't have to navigate who am I going to sit next to? What am I going to do next? What is my child going to do? Because there's this, then this, then this, then this. Yeah. And by the time the snacks and refreshments time or the morning tea time happens, everybody is in the moment. They've been warmed up to the whole social interaction.
Yeah, it's good. I'm going to get you to sort of zone in on one person's story in a couple of minutes. I'm giving you a heads up on that, Joe, so you can put that in there. You don't need to say people's names. But as we head to that too, how do people connect in with this or maybe even support this work? Because as we said, it's now worldwide. It's having real community impact on the ground. I know from many churches, it's places where people would never actually come to church, but they will connect in with the church, community, because they'll come along to this and they'll do that for years. So there's an incredible community engagement from a faith-based perspectives as well. How do people actually get involved? How do they support? How can they be a part of it?
Yeah, so if you're wanting to go along to Maney Music, jump on maneymusic.org, or if you're listening in New Zealand, maneymusic.org.nz, and there is a map there, so you can find a group, and all the groups for the whole world are on there. So even one in Lebanon, there's one in Uganda now. That's one of the newest ones. Up in the UK, Australia, USA, Canada, and Hong Kong. One in Hong Kong.
So good.
Yeah, lots of fun. So if you are a parent or a grandparent or a nanny or even a home daycarer, have a look, dial up and see if there's one locally. Yeah. If you're a church or you're planting a church or you're a Christian childcare, Christian school, make contact with us through the website and we can guide you through the process of setup. And what we try and do is for everything to be provided for, whoever it is that's running it. And you've touched on the fact that it's faith-based. It's faith-based, but it's not faith-biased. So it's invitational stuff. So don't feel like you're going to be singing Jesus songs the whole way through. Most of the songs are about jumping and hopping and skipping and colours and numbers and alphabet and all those sorts of things. There are some songs about God in there because we want to make sure that people feel like their lives are made for a purpose, that they were created, they were not made out of chaos, that God loves them passionately. And then we sing songs about Noah because he took animals on a very big ark, and those animals are fun to make the sounds of.
I love it. It's great. And what about if someone's like, okay, well, this just sounds great. Can I financially just support? Are you taking donations and those
we
sorts of
totally
things?
are taking donations. Like there is a donation button on the website. Please don't judge us for the website because it really needs an overhaul. And actually, we've been grateful for some donations to get that happening over the years. But particularly, for both what we do regularly, there is a gap between what is provided by membership contribution through the groups and what the real cost is. Then there's also all these groups in like the prison and the schools and all sorts of places where families are doing life tougher than the rest of us. And we pay people to go into there because there are policies and training and all sorts of things that need to be done that harder for a volunteer to jump that high. And so again, just reach out to us and we'll tell you the needs. We'll put you on our very simple donor database. You'll only get something once a month and hear about the stories.
Love that. Let's finish up, but hear one of the stories, like you said, there's literally thousands and tens and thousands of stories. But
and of course, my mind goes blank when you say the one story.
No. But is there one that maybe you love sharing? You go, look, this is sort of the example.
Yeah. So one of the stories is of a woman who was pushing her twins up a street, saw the sign, thought that she was the only person in a fairly well-to-do suburb of Melbourne, thought that she was the only one with preschoolers, that everybody else had their children going to high school and primary school and were all out at work. Turns out there were many more families even in her street, like that she didn't know about. Came back on the day and was flabbergasted at what could occur, because often, especially when you've got twins, you need another adult. Like if you're going to take them swimming, you've got to have two adults.
Someone who
in the
has
pool.
twins, I wholeheartedly agree.
Whereas Mainly Music can be done with twins on your own. You don't have to bring an extra adult. And the care that she received, because that's the other reason we partner with churches, is because churches are holistically interested in the person and they have access to food parcels or meals from a freezer or whatever. And so she found this place where she could really relax and where her girls, who were quite clingy at the time, came out of their shell just slowly, because people high-fived them or noticed that they were banging the drum, or whether it was in time or not didn't really matter. And so she developed this community around her, and her girls gained confidence. Her girls gained school readiness skills, and it was life-giving. She flourished as a mum.
Love that. What a beautiful story. Mainlymusic.org, mainlymusic.org.nz, to find out more, to connect, maybe even just say, hey, look, I loved hearing that story. Got to just find out a bit more, whatever it might be. Jo, it's awesome. You've been at this for 35 years.
Yes.
You're more passionate than ever about it.
Hope there's another 35, but probably not.
But it's clearly you're setting it up for bigger and bigger and awesome things as we go. And we're just so grateful to hear about it and to celebrate it in your 35th year as well.
Thank you. And if anybody has like a prison option or a place where families are doing life tough, get in touch with us as well, because we'd love to look for a grant, raise some funds to get, or maybe they can help us get somebody in to run Mainly Music to see families flourish in their midst as well.
Love that. Mainlymusic.org, mainlymusic.org.nz. This is Towards Understanding.
Thank you.